Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I did want to make a video on the Trae Young trade. Of course, Trae Young was traded for CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert. Obviously, Trae is going to be a Washington Wizard, and those guys are going to be Hawks. I didn't really love the return, if I'm being honest with you, for Trae Young, but I did understand that, I needed to kind of brace myself for the return not being very good. Because of all the different things that are docked against Trae Young, his attitude with the team early on, the fact that he now has had a trade demand or what have you request with a list, that kind of eats away at your value. It's a lot of different things that were eating away at his value. The fact that he's going to be up for extension very soon and need to be negotiated with, could potentially be a rental. So there's a lot of things eating away at Trae Young's value for the Hawks. I don't know how much leverage the Hawks really have, given their history and stuff like that. And so, yeah, and not only that, but the sensitivity of trying to make this trade quickly, because the Hawks are now trying to pivot toward the AD trade rather quickly. So they probably didn't really have time to sit around being posturing and all of that. They needed to get Trae on the move so that they could pivot a different way and try to make this AD thing happen before Dallas goes in a different direction. So time sensitivity probably had a lot to do with how this played out as well, I believe, for the Hawks. So until we know what the Hawks are going to do next, I think it's going to be kind of difficult to judge this trade properly. But in a nutshell, I actually hated the return. I hated it a lot. CJ McCollum, for me, I don't really like CJ game. I think most people who follow me, if you've heard me speak about CJ, it ain't really been all that positive. I just think CJ is a hell of a scorer. I'd never take nothing away from him as a scorer. But I think that he's selfish. He's a selfish basketball player. Now, that doesn't mean I think he's a selfish person or that he's not rooting for his teammates or that he's not, intentional on making people better. I just think that his game is meatball basketball. I'm shooting the rock. You could be open or not. I'm shooting the ball. And I've watched him do this enough to hate his game. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't think it makes anybody better. And I don't like those type of guards, especially when they can't defend. This is the same thing I was saying about Gabe Vincent in my last Laker video. And obviously CJ McCollum is a much better player than Gabe Vincent, but they kind of have the same weaknesses on the offensive end. They don't push the ball around. They don't make anybody better. They're just shooting whenever they feel they should shoot. And so CJ's an infinitely more talented player, but it's still the same dynamic, man. And so for me, I think that can kind of eat away at any team he's on, unless they specifically need what he does and for him to do it. And I don't think that really any team that he's been on has really needed that as of yet. I don't think so. So that's my thing on CJ. I just think that he's a black hole for the offensive end, and the Atlanta Hawks, I don't think they need him. I don't think he's a complement to what they do necessarily, unless they turn him into a microwave scorer off the bench. But if they start him, the ball's not going to be moving around like it used to. Trae Young will move the ball around. Trae Young may have been a little selfish here and there. They say he passes to assists, which is a thing at times with certain players, but at least that is happening. CJ ain't passing to assists. He's not passing at all. He's going to shoot shots, and they're either going to go in or they're not. So that's my thing. I don't like CJ to begin with. So for me, I wouldn't have been up to do this deal because I probably would not have valued CJ the way most people do. I hate his game. Now, he's on a $30 million expiring contract. So for that reason, you see that as an asset for the Hawks for certain. You get $30 million coming off the books. That could be very intriguing, especially in an event that you re-sign an Anthony Davis, of whom they hope to acquire, which I think, it's looking like it could happen. So I don't know what they have to give up to get to Anthony Davis. I don't really know, but that CJ contract is expiring. And as far as Corey Kispert, he's on a $13 million a year, 4-year deal. Corey's a nice player. He's developed okay in Washington. I don't think most people have really been paying attention to him in Washington. He's probably gotten drowned out by the young guys that they've brought in, but Corey Kispert has done some pretty solid things. I don't think he's a minus on your basketball team. He's certainly a nice shooter. And so I'm optimistic that he can play up $13 million a year. I don't think he's probably worth more than that, but I think that's probably fair. And to have him locked in for 4 years is probably a decent contract to have if you need shooting. So yeah, him and Luke Kennard together, they're pretty strong shooting guys. I guess he gives you Luke Kennard insurance. He's an expiring $11 million deal. You can probably send that to Dallas in the AD trade. I could totally see that being a thing. So he replaces him essentially if everything falls in line like I think it will. And maybe consider an upgrade. Maybe Corey Kispert. I like Corey. I think he's pretty solid, man. So that's my take on Corey Kispert. I think he's solid, but is he and CJ a player I don't like enough for Trae Young? Hell no, not even close, bro. Are you crazy? Absolutely not. I would have laughed at that deal and hung up the phone, but that's just me. There's no way I do this deal without some draft equity coming back, even if it's not just second round picks. You know what I mean? I'm getting something that's going to be turned into something else later on. If I'm Atlanta, and I don't think they got that. But they did get cap relief and a solidified shooter for whatever it is that they're going to be next. So from a basketball perspective, if you really like CJ, like a lot of people do, then you really probably think this is an all right trade return. You probably don't love it either without picks involved, but you probably think, CJ's like, all right, yeah, we got a guy can go for 50 points. And that's exactly what he is. He can definitely do that. So it just depends on your taste in regards to CJ as an expiring contract of $30 million, which can be very valuable for a team that has somebody to pay tomorrow. And, so that's really what it is. CJ, I don't know if he can be flipped right now once again, because that piece could be attractive in a retrade situation right now if possible. I'm just not knowledgeable to know if that would be possible. So, yeah, Trae Young, I'm looking at his contract, see where we're at with that, if it'll show it to me. I really don't know what he's making, honestly. I don't know. But all in all, this trade is to be determined as it pertains to if the Hawks needed to make this deal right away in order to assure that they can make the next deal that they need to make, then I'm fine with them losing the trade on purpose to secure what needs to happen in the other pivoted move. Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet, man. Sometimes in order to make multiple things happen, you just got to kind of lose this trade. You know what I mean? It might be what's necessary for them to build what they're trying to build. I know they have a win now timeline, and they are a better team without Trae Young, which is also something that docked them. I mean, let's face it, Trae Young coming back this season's roster did not make them better. With Dyson Daniels and Nickeil Alexander-Walker playing the way they're playing, you want them to be your backcourt. Which is another reason why I don't necessarily know what CJ's about to be. Unless they're going to move Nod to the 3, which I don't think they'll do that. But then they may, depending on if they are indeed moving on from Zachary. Jalen Johnson can play the 4. AD will probably play the 4, so Jalen will be the 3. CJ probably coming off the bench, man. Unless they plan on moving Dyson Daniels, which is ill-advised. I wouldn't. I definitely would not. So, yeah, I think it's probably Luke Kennard, Zachary Risachet. I don't know, man. I'm not really sure what they can move. Kristaps Porzingis expiring. That's $60 million coming off the books right there. If they keep Kristaps and CJ through the year, that's $30 million for Kristaps and $30 million for CJ. Off your books right away. Maybe they just wanted to keep that $30 million and they probably plan on moving Kristaps in the AD deal. Does Dallas want Kristaps? Probably a third team involved there. Although, maybe they do take him back. I don't know. Luka's gone from what I understand. They didn't get along with Luka. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming. But, yeah, I like the idea of Jalen Johnson being the guy for, AD and Jalen Johnson is pretty risky from an injury perspective. But those are hyper talented players. Jalen Johnson's turned into something way better than anybody thought he was going to be. So you love that he's on tab for 5 years, $30 million a year. He's going to outplay that for certain. In fact, I'd want to restructure that deal if I'm him. Like, yo, add a couple million to that, please. Because that's a great deal if he continues playing like this for the next 5 years. So, yeah, man, I when it comes to Trae Young, what I'm trying to find is what he's making this year what his contract situation looks like. Where are the Wizards here? As I'm looking at this, Trae Young is making $46 million for the next 2 years. So next year he'll be on $46 million expiring. I don't think the Wizards let that happen. I'm pretty certain he's going to restructure that to assure that he's on probably for another 4 years, 5 years. And they'll probably shave a couple $1 million off of that. Or I would imagine that probably makes the most sense for them. For him, just getting extra years tacked on is probably the goal. So yeah, man, I honestly still think that the Wizards are gonna continue on a tank mission this year. If Trae Young's like nursing an injury that he had in Atlanta, he's probably gonna be out to start this process probably for another week or 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If he goes down with a rolled ankle, they'll keep him out for 3-4 weeks. I don't think they really want to win. I think they would love to get in this draft and be a player in the draft this year, and then bring Trae Young and Alex Sarr, their next guy, their third guy, or fourth guy, however you view what they have. Trey Johnson, he's a very talented player too. So as far as the Wizards concerned, you guys know, if you follow me, I thought that the Wizards was a good decision on his part to choose the Wizards. I thought the vision was there. He could still go on and be a superstar, face of a team, young talent, flexibility there, draft picks to both either draft or trade. All of that looked great. If you have a vision for what your future looks like, this is the type of vision that I've been tasking superstars to have. Instead of trying to go somewhere that's not going to have any flexibility, trying to go somewhere that you're playing with another guy, go somewhere that really needs you to be who you are, that has the flexibility to build around you something perfect. And I think that Trae Young has probably made the best decision in that regard that I've seen in a while. Guys just don't have the vision to do that, and he did. And so I think if Washington plays it well and he is healthy, he's going to get back to the status that he was when things were all about him in Atlanta. And this time, Washington may have a lot more flexibility and potentially could put more talent around him than Atlanta could. So I'm extremely positive about this being a good decision for Trae. Now, whether it plays out or not, it's a lot of things that have to happen, but I think this was the right choice for Trae Young. This is where he should be. This is exactly where he should be. So yeah, man, that's my take on it. As far as CJ McCollum, he's expiring, man. He's making his $30 million right now. I don't know if he's going to continue to make that type of money going forward. I don't think he's going to get the same shots in Atlanta that he did in Washington, but he's obviously got a chance to make the playoffs in Atlanta, so that could be even bigger for him if he gets a chance there. But coming off the bench is probably the move. It's probably the move. I'm not starting him over or Dyson at this point. That would be something I would be against. And so if Atlanta is able to make this AD trade, we'll see what they have left, because maybe Dallas needs one of those two. I don't know, but that's something that we're gonna have to just keep an eye on. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much my take on it. I don't really have too much to say. I think, like I said, Corey Kispert's a fine player. I don't doubt that any team that he had that has him going forward is going to get the best from him, because he's like entering his prime. He developed in Washington in the dark where nobody was paying attention, and now I think he's ready to really contribute. And I think in Atlanta they're going to give him his shots. I think he'll get his opportunities as a backup guy in pretty good rotations. I think they're a pretty deep team. So I think he could play up his value. I definitely think that. So yeah, I'm not down on Corey Kispert. I think it just sucks that it's just him and CJ coming, because you look at that and like, who the hell is this guy? But I think he's a guy. Like, he's a guy. You know what I mean? He'll make a way for himself. He'll be a good role player, a good shooter for them. So that's my take on Kispert. I just wish that was a more attractive trade package there for the Atlanta Hawks. And if they don't make an AD trade, you really have to scratch your head as to why they settled as they did without at least getting a second, if not a first. It's Trae Young. I think people are downplaying Trae Young, and now that he's in Washington, they didn't have to give up none of their picks. They didn't have to give up none of their young players. He's in a position to really have a stacked team if they do things the right way over the next 4 years. It could be a stacked team, y'all. So, yeah. And he's going to get all the shots he wants for now, because those young players are not about to – they don't have the cachet to stop him from shooting 40 times. They just don't. I hope it doesn't stump their growth, though. It's going to be incumbent upon him to be more unselfish and get through the difficult times, because this is a tanking franchise, man. And so don't make some of the mistakes he made several years ago when people were calling him a bad teammate or selfish or whatever. Because if he does that, all of this goes to waste. And I don't know where you're gonna find a better fit going forward. I don't know. So yeah, Trae's gonna have to be on his best behavior and be mature out there. So that's really my take. I'm looking forward to seeing Trae in Washington. Like I said, this year is probably not much to watch, but as they bring in their next big rookie, and Alex Sarr goes into year 3, and Keyshawn George goes into year 3, and Koulibaly, whatever they do with Koulibaly, I don't know if they're gonna keep him or move him, but he's a young player who can help. Trae Johnson, year 2, year 3, then you're gonna start really seeing what the vision was, what Trae Young was thinking going to this team, and I think it's the right move. I really do. I think it's the right move. BDO 44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.